We're going to bring the meeting to order. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being interested in the inner workings of the city. We're going to start off by having Terry provide our invocation, following by the Pledge of Allegiance. And then before we get down to other business, and we will get on with the city business, we have a new planning commissioner that is joining us tonight. We'll go ahead and have John go ahead and swear her in, and then she'll take her seat, and then we'll conduct business like normal, where our clerk will then go ahead and include her in tonight's roll call. All right, Terry? Thank you.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you have given us. Lord, we pray for the people in California that have been struck by the wildfires and just devastated. We remember what that feels like, and we pray that your hand will be upon them. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Terry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Terry. And if you don't mind coming up to the center over here, we'll have John go ahead and grab his Bible and swear you in.
Inside the loop or outside?
Anywhere that you're
right.
comfortable.
I'll
And
be
thank
sure.
you again for your voluntary work.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and the government of the United States and the state of Florida, and that you are duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties of planning commissioner for the city of Parker, Florida, on which you are about to enter?
Very good. Thank you, Ann. We'll have Ms. Pellering take her seat. Very good. Thank you, Ann. And that seat's got some adjustment going on there, so feel free to. Very good. Madam Clerk, can I ask you to take roll, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall.
Here.
Ms. Powering. Here. Mr. Stryker.
Here.
Mr. Rega.
Here, thank you.
And Mr. Merritt is absent.
Okay, very good. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes that we were given? I'll then ask for a motion or any changes that anybody would request.
I'll make a motion that we accept them.
Very good. Can I get a second, please?
I second.
Very good. Can we get a vote, Madam Clerk?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Ms. Powering.
Yes.
Mr. Stryker.
Yes.
And Mr. Rega.
Yes, and thank you. I saw you did an excellent job. This is your first minutes, I think, and I love the way that it's summarized and direct and to the point, so thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
Very good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 things on the menu here today. We have a couple of parcel split requests. We have a variance request. Now, during a variance request, that is going to be a public hearing. So we'll ask the applicant to come up. We will ask our clerk to go ahead and swear them in. And then anybody that wishes to speak regarding that variance request, we will also swear them in as well. Once we're done with that, we'll go ahead and we'll close the public hearing. And then we'll move on to the final thing on the menu, which is just regarding a final application for plat approval. Okay? At this time, I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to come up and discuss anything that's not on tonight's agenda. All right, very good, very good. All right, we're going to get to item number 1. Mr. Farrell, are you here today?
He's not here.
He's not here. Are you representing him, ma'am?
I am.
Okay, very good. Could you come to the podium, please, and state your name and address? We may have a couple of questions for you.
As in home address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Eleanor Renier, and my address is 112 Row,
Very good.
Panama City.
How you rated in relationship to Mr. Farrell? Are you a business partner or something of that
I'm
nature?
their realtor,
Okay,
so I
very
just represent when they're not available.
Okay, very good. All right. So everybody had a chance to review what Mr. Farrell is doing in this second parcel of land? And I know you have not, but. Terry, any thoughts? Rich,
No,
any thoughts?
What is the square footage of this lot? Is that the 15,200?
Oh, this is in
152 by 100 still?
This is Mr. Farrell, and I think that's just shy of an acre. It's like .89 acres,
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
is what I remember.
Sounds right.
Remember last month, we were looking at the first lot, which is the one just north of that on the survey. And that one, we went ahead and granted the split, and then council will go ahead and do their final vote on that as well. In this particular case, we have a lot that is .89 acres, so it clearly meets the density rule.
Correct.
Clearly identifies, doesn't violate any density rule, and meets the minimum lot size requirement of 7,500 square feet. Because he's gonna end up with two parcels, I think approximately,
I think
just.
.42.
Yeah, .42. Yes, ma'am. Now, the one thing that's a little unorthodox is, in this particular case, he's got one street here, 11th Street. One property will be in back of another one. But the state of Florida recently ruled that he has the right to do that, particularly since there's a variety of different ways to create a utilitarian access or an easement, essentially, for the rear property.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the state laws that prevent him from doing that. It is a little unorthodox, but again, it's his property.
So there's 20-foot easement, I think. Is that it?
Yes, sir. What I believe he's doing is that easement is going to be between the two properties right there. So the rear property will use that in order to access the 11th Street frontage.
Yeah, as long as the fire department signs off on it, I think it's fine.
All right, sir. You have any questions here for this young lady? Rich?
Good.
Very good. Then I'll ask for a motion.
I make a motion to accept.
Very good.
Approve
The second lot split. Very
Yes.
good. Terry, I'll ask for you to
Make a
consider.
second.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the.
Anne's a little green here, so she's
Okay, I
just
did get a
learning.
chance to read up
ropes.
on this one, so I was willing. Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
Very good.
perfect. Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Powering,
Yes.
Mr. Striker.
Yes.
And Mr. Reagan.
Yes,
Perfect.
please, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it.
Had a question for you.
Yes, ma'am,
So,
please.
I remember in one of the emails, they were talking about, this moving forward to next week's meeting, so can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Our clerk would have to answer that. She actually drives that whole process with the council members. They're the governing body, the ones that will make the final and actual legal vote. But they'll see our recommendation. We're an advisory council, not
Okay.
the governing board.
And then, so next week's will include that,
I
the
do have it on
512
the
and the
agenda.
518?
Yes,
Awesome.
Very good. And was that gonna be for both of them?
It is.
Okay,
For
very
both.
good.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, thank you. Very good. Is Mr. Lipscomb here?
I am here.
Very good, sir. If you'll come forward, and if you don't mind, just so we were familiar with Mr. Farrell's, because he had come to us last month. If you don't mind, please provide us sort of a summary of what you would like to accomplish here. and
Sure.
What's going on.
First off, I'm Richard Channing Lipscomb, live out on the west end of the beach. I've recently purchased a parcel on 9th Street, which is 2 lots that originally had 50 feet. This was originally 130, I believe, by 150. It had 50 cut off of it many years ago. And I don't know do you each have a copy of the cover letter that I originally wrote with mine?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you've got some ideas there. This currently is 2 lots, but it is set up as 1 parcel. What I would like to do is split this into 2 parcels and then build a house on each of those.
Ladies, gentlemen, any question for Mr. Lipscomb?
Is my math right, that would be 6,900 square feet?
That is correct. If we do this, the 2 lots will be under your 7,500 square feet, or 7,500 minimum. So I would then have to apply for a variance. This would now be 6,900 square feet. The house that is directly behind it is on a 6,900 square foot lot. There are others in the area. It wouldn't be unusual, but it would still require the variance. So this is my first step of a two-step process.
Mr. Lipscomb, there's actually two variances that you would require.
Okay,
There's both, it would violate both a density requirement and a minimum lot size.
okay,
This is, I'm assuming that this is low-density residential
correct.
area?
Single-family house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet.
So just be aware that that's what we would be wrestling with.
Yes,
Because in low-density residential areas, what we have, average acre is 43,560 square feet. If you divide that by 5, you come to around 8,700 square feet.
right,
So and what the city of Parker has stated for these areas is that if you have an acre of land, you can have no more than 5 parcels on that, actual dwellings on that property.
okay,
That's the concept in order to maintain property values and some of the other things that are concerned with that particular low-density residential area.
right,
So then there's the second piece of that, and that's the minimum lot size at
Right.
7,500 square feet. So both of those would be requiring a variance because you'd be harming the density ruling.
Right.
And then the minimum lot size. And some people may say, well, how are there 2 of them? Let's say you've got 0.4 acres. You've got enough now to have 2 different dwellings. One of them can be 9,500 square feet, and then the other one can be 7,500 square feet. That's how you divide it.
Right.
And still don't challenge the density rule within the
Right.
city. So just so you're aware, that there would be 2 variance requirements. My concern would be if, let's say that these folks here say it's okay to go ahead and divide the land, you may very well be creating 2 unbuildable lots.
right,
That was my fear of this too.
Now, and this is low-density residential, not MU1 or MU2, right?
I am not positive on that.
I think it's low-density residential. Anybody get a chance to look at that?
I did not.
What's the address there?
706 North 9th Street, correct?
Oh, 9th Street? That's
Yeah.
low-density residential. Okay. Yeah, I might ask you to just review this again, because right now it's perfect for I think you've got 0.31 acres, so if you're close, like let's say you're 0.39, generally the concept of the law is being adhered to because we're not that far off.
Right.
But we've got almost 25% less than is needed because of the density ruling.
Right,
And the things that these folks have to be concerned with, and it's part of the motto that we have, is to do no harm to our neighbors. And I know that you had said that there's another one already there that may have been occurred before the rules were in place.
right, and I do not know the date of construction of that or when that section was cut off.
Yeah. So what we're dealing with right now is just those 2 things. Our goal as advisory is to sort of be black and white, to sort of look at things in that light, and then advise the governing board, the council members, in terms of, does this meet the rules or do they not, or are they close?
Right,
And I think rationally, we'd have to say we're not close. Because if we're creating 2 6,900 square foot lots where a minimum would have to be 7,500, and that would only be if you started with 0.4 acres. So we're missing on both of those pretty hard.
okay,
Those are my thoughts.
okay,
And when we do, there's other things that these folks have to be concerned with, and I'll just share some of them with you if you'd like.
Sure.
The state of Florida has, and the feds have what they call supremacy rulings. And recently, what's occurred is Local Government Comprehensive Planning and Land Development Regulation Act, otherwise known as the Growth Management Act. It's probably come about in the state of Florida because Florida is the fastest growing state in the country right now, because we saw what happened with COVID. We saw what happened, prior to that because of other things. And as a result of that, what they're doing is they're saying to municipalities, any municipality, townships, cities, if you have a comprehensive plan and you violate those rules, we might penalize you in terms of how much money we're going to give you for other projects, whether it's a FEMA project or things of that nature. So these folks have to be concerned about that sort of stuff. Again, if we were close, and if we could say it meets the spirit of the law because we're close,
Right.
then I think in good conscience we could probably do it. My personal opinion is we're further away than that.
Okay.
So
You're encouraging me to withdraw this application for a lot split.
well, I'm just, the simple reality is that's a nice area. Where
It
you're
is.
talking
It's a
about.
very nice area.
And a single home, I mean, you wouldn't require anything, putting one home on that property, because you got the space, it's a third of an acre,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't violate any rules. You're not gonna have to come, to Ingrid or the council for variances.
Right.
But when you try to turn it into two, all of a sudden, all kinds of red flags start going, and again, it's, I would just, and I know you're a builder, I know you've done some things out on the beach, right? Is that what you?
And some
said
here in
your-
Parker.
And thank you for improving our city. This one might just be outside the jaws of what we could stomach at this
Okay.
point. And again, if we were closer, for example, like I say, if you had 0.38, 0.39, but we're far off that mark.
Well, based on that, let me just withdraw this request.
Okay.
And I can move forward. My thought when I first bought the property was I might be able to split this, or I might not. If I can't, I'll just build one house.
Well, and it'd be a great, and quite frankly, that would be a better project for whoever ends up buying the home. And, you probably aren't gonna be, I know 2 single-family homes on smaller lots would probably garner more income for you, but at the end of the day, we have to apply these rules.
Sure. They would also be more affordable, and that's
Yes, sir.
one of my focuses is trying to build houses that are affordable.
Yes.
But there again, if I can't split the lot, or if it's going to be problematic, then I can.
Now, the interesting
forward the
thing,
other way.
if you do look at the Affordable Housing Act that was signed into law early in 2024, interesting enough, the one district that does not apply to is low-density residential areas. You can do you have all kinds of flexibility in MU1, MU2, and other districts, even commercial districts. But for some reason, the state has decided to leave low-density residential alone, and it allows the municipalities to maintain whatever rules they put in place for those areas. And I think it's generally because if you look at most people's comprehensive plans, it involves protecting your neighbor. No matter what you do, if you build a home, you can't flood your neighbor out.
Right.
If you're doing something that maybe you got a guy with a 7,000 or 8,000 square foot home and then 2 smaller homes right next to it, you may be harming their property values. The other thing too is the character of the area is what they're concerned with as well. And I know you said you had another property there already, but for these other reasons, I think it might be a challenge.
Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate your understanding.
Absolutely. Thanks for your explanation and your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, sir. Very good. John, because it came before us, are we still obligated to vote if Mr. Lipscomb is withdrawing his request?
You stated on the record that
He's withdrawn his request, so we do not have to vote?
I would think, yeah, that would be the case. If I didn't hear him specifically state that he was actually.
Mr. Lipscomb, so I think I heard you're withdrawing your request.
I do officially withdraw my request for the lot split.
Is that,
I think
okay,
that would be
very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your thoughts. Very good. All right, let me find our next item here. Sorry, guys, I lost my, here it is. Okay, this was an application for variance, so I am going to go ahead and open a public hearing. Is Mr. or Mrs. Davis here? Mr. Davis? Yes, sir, very good. So this is a request for a variance to build a garage.
That's correct.
Madam Clerk, will you swear in the witness, please?
Absolutely. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth? Nothing
Swear.
but the truth? Perfect. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Davis?
Is this lot attached to your house, adjacent to your house?
No, sir, there's a little service road, it's actually like a community road,
Right.
and I tried to, when I bought the land, I tried to merge it with my property at 1009.
Right.
But you can't do it. So that's why, because I want to put a little garage back there,
Yeah.
because we don't have no yard in that little, so we're gonna make it like a garden, fruit trees, you know, stuff like that. But no, it's not connected to the property.
I think we
So-
have a thing about you can't have
Yeah,
an accessory building without a house.
without a principal, because
And
it's
if he
low
could merge the two, why then,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Is it, Mr. Davis, what type of road separates the property from your
It's a little
home?
dirt road,
Is
and it's only for the, there's like,
it a
two-
public access?
yeah, you can get in there, but there's like, people go in there for their houses. There's two houses back there,
Yeah,
and on that one side toward our house, so there's like two houses, that one house there, and that's how they get in
yes, sir.
behind their house to park.
So,
I didn't
so
see it
you
on
own
that.
property here, you have a road separating them, and then you own this other smaller parcel of
That's
land
correct.
here.
It circles around the lot.
Yeah, it's like a horseshoe. The road goes around. It's like a little community right down here,
Yeah.
Pitts. And that's a horseshoe goes around. It's a service road.
What kind of a, now do you happen to know, do you own Midway into that road? This is,
I have no idea. I don't know. When I bought my, when I did the survey, it didn't say nothing about that. I just did the survey for the lot itself. But
So,
I'm not sure about that.
is it
I
like an
haven't-
alley?
Yeah,
What-
it's like an alley. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly like an alley.
So it's like a
And
public
all it is
access.
just like, it's part of the community.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is because the state does a lot. If you don't own the road, then it's a challenge.
I'm not sure.
But if you own, if that's a public access, and your property goes midway to the center of that road like it's an alley, then technically you can do it because you've got the garage area where you want to build a garage. You've got a public access where your property line may come to the middle of the road, and then you've got your property, right? Where you live, where you
Yeah.
have a single-family dwelling. If that's the case, then you don't even require a variance, okay? However, if it's not the case, and I know yours is a low-density residential area, is that right?
Yeah, I
As
guess
well?
so. I don't know.
Yeah.
What that is.
So, if you can determine where your property line, if it goes into
It
that,
doesn't go in there. I know that already.
it does not go into the.
No, we did a survey on the house and that land, and it stops at the road.
Okay,
Is it a city road? Is it on the city map?
No, it's not a city road.
It doesn't show up
It's
on
not?
the, it doesn't show up on the map.
I thought it was an easement from, I'm trying to remember back when we had this discussion originally. I thought it was like some type of easement.
Yeah.
Yes, when they built them houses years ago, before I bought mine, of course,
Right.
2002.
Yeah.
It was like, it was understanding, but it was a community road.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the city.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I won't do nothing to that road because it's access, you know, for emergency or whatever. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna even touch that.
so,
The people have to put their trash cans loaded up to front, you know, of the road. You know,
yes, ma'am,
The trash service don't go in,
yes, ma'am.
so I don't know. if
I'm
they
just
follow.
dealing with the state laws, and the state laws, like I say, there's supremacy rules. We can't, as a municipality, we can't do anything that's more stringent than what their rules are. And what the state does allow is, there are certain roads that are considered public access roads where the property owners own midway into the middle of that road, and then the other property owner, in your case, you own both properties, technically, you could then build your garage, okay? However, actually, you would have to first go ahead and join the two properties. You'd have to merge them, okay? You'd have to combine them, all right? And then you could build a garage. if you own to the middle of the road.
Don't know.
Okay, if you know you don't, then the issues we have are pretty much the same as we had with Mr. Lipscomb. That is a low-density residential area, and the requirement from these individuals is that you must have a dwelling on the property before you can have accessory buildings. That is part of the requirement for low-density property, low-density residential properties. And for that reason, I don't
You
think
don't
we
think
could.
we get the variance? You know, the variance, I'm only gonna build a 12, whatever, 332 square foot garage.
Yes,
The
sir.
property's 3,223 square foot.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's only
like
10% of the property.
0.07, yeah,
And
0.07
so, I mean, it's not
acres.
like it's a major footprint.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it just like the other houses. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be vinyl siding. It's gonna have windows. It's gonna have a metal roof. I'm gonna
Yes,
put
sir.
some money into it because I don't wanna make it look ugly, you know? So it's gonna be like a miniature version of the other houses. I mean, pretty much.
I have no doubt that you'd make it nice. We're only dealing with the black and white issue of, do the rules allow for a segregated piece of property that's less than 0.2 acres? And even if it was, you'd still need to have a principal residence on it before an accessory building. I did do a little looking into the state, and the reason that the state is mandating this sort of a rule is because they do want to maintain neighborhood aesthetics. And I know you're saying you'd build a beautiful garage, and again, I have no doubt you would. But they are concerned with property values, preventing misuse of accessory structures, like oftentimes people move into them. And there's a variety of other things that are there.
Excuse me, it's not gonna have water or electricity. It's gonna be standalone, so there's nobody that can live in it, no sewers, no nothing.
Yes,
It'll be
sir.
just like, you know, it's just gonna be, cause I don't have a place to store stuff, so I can put my kayaks in there, my
Oh, yeah.
lawnmower in there, you know, and it's.
I absolutely understand, but you live in a low-density residential area, and you've got a segmented parcel of land that's too small to build a dwelling on. And because it's separate from where you do have your dwelling, the comprehensive plan and also the land development rules do say in that area, in order to build an accessory structure, you must have a dwelling on it already. And again, I was trying to go down that pathway of, do you own to the middle of the road? Because if you did, then that's kind of a loop we found when we were trying to help another individual accomplish their goal.
Well, I don't know who owns the road. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know.
You might want to check. That might be it might be something to look into, because if you own part of that road, if you own to the middle of the road, then it doesn't even require a variance. As long as you're not, you've got impervious, if you check the impervious nature of what your property would be combined with this, so you're not going to create too much coverage. Because in low-density residential, you can only cover 0.4% or 40% of the property.
Yeah.
So if you-
That's what I'm saying. It's only 10% of the property.
Yeah,
That's what I'm-
it's only one aspect of it, but
Yeah.
I think what I would do is I would probably see if you are a partial owner of that road.
Where would
Somebody's
you
got to
see
own that
I mean,
road.
Where would you find that information at?
Should be in your deed.
I don't see nothing. When I
Yeah.
did
How
it-
about if all the people back there, how many residents, four?
Well, there's more than
Yeah.
that.
Four or five?
Well, they're all the way around. I mean, there's like
Oh.
like a horseshoe.
Yeah,
So you got some on this
Public
side.
access.
so
But
you
if
got
the
some-
residents owned it,
yeah.
And all of them are
he's
on,
one of the residents.
all of them are on lots smaller than 7,500 square foot, I
Right.
believe. So it wouldn't be
I'm just trying to
unusual
find
for
a
the
way to
neighborhood. I mean, you
help
know,
it,
it
but
would match, because there's like
Yeah.
small, I don't know how they got away with it back when, but, and the rules
Yeah.
might have changed, but
Oh,
none of
Parker-
them lots are big.
Yeah,
They're all
Parker didn't become incorporated until 1967, so you'll actually see all kinds of
small. Oh, okay.
things out there that don't apply to today's rules. Again, it's really about protecting your neighbor. It's about following the state laws. We're bound to doing that, and if you could look into who owns that road, you may actually find that you have you're deeded up to the middle
Yeah.
of that road.
Where would you go? Would you, downtown?
I might try the property appraisers, Bay County Property Appraisers Office, and
Yeah.
just see what they're saying are the actual lines. I think Terry's right with regard to where your land is segmented, where you can actually see your property line. I fear that if you request us to vote on this, what we have right now, we would most certainly be forced to vote against it, because you'd be trying to put an accessory structure on a parcel of land in a low-density residential area that's too small to build anything and doesn't have a dwelling on it.
Excuse me, can I just ask something?
Yes,
How
ma'am,
about
of course.
like a
Ma'am,
gazebo?
will you come up here so that if there are people who are viewing electronically and they need to hear you
No,
as well?
I'm just wondering what a, you know, accessory structure is, or is a gazebo a accessory structure? Or-
Yes, ma'am.
or Everything, like anything is,
Yeah,
so you can't do nothing.
I
You
mean,
can own a piece of land and can't do absolutely nothing but mow it, so the city don't have to do it. Is that how it
And
works?
pay taxes.
And pay taxes.
well,
Is
if you
that
buy,
how that
if you
works?
buy a parcel of land that's .07, and it's not attached to your dwelling, that's one of those things that most people look into before they buy something that small to determine what the municipality's
Yeah, but-
rules are
But I
of
thought
building.
that's what variance is on for.
Well,
I mean, you
yeah,
know,
we're-
I don't understand the whole thing, but that's what I was thinking.
the thing about the variance is you can't, let me just tell you what some of the rules are regarding variance if you're interested. So, this is under section 163. There's all different kinds of laws that are on it. But in order to obtain a variance, it's got to be something unique, okay? And there's not anything unique. You're just wanting to build a garage on a too small parcel of land, and it can't be self-imposed. Those are two rules. There's more, but and it has to meet the spirit of the rules. And the land is tiny. It's real small, and so if you purchase this parcel of land, then it's sort of self-imposed. It's important to know what the rules are in a municipality before you.
Could we park a car there?
Of course you could, sure.
And a
And
trailer
a
too.
truck, and a trailer.
tags
Yeah,
on
yeah. I mean, it's a
Okay.
it's a
Yeah,
parcel
we'll
of
have to-
land.
It's gonna look
Maybe I
ugly.
could do
And
that.
you know,
But our tools,
Do you
I
have a
mean,
copy of your deed?
Not with me, I don't.
I
got
mean, do you have
Yeah,
one?
yeah, sure.
I'd read it real well,
All right.
cause
Yeah.
that would give you a lot of information. If not, they're online, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing, you know, if you look at it, like I said, that entire little village, whatever you wanna call it,
Yeah.
none of them houses are on big lots.
Yes,
No, no.
Right.
yeah. They were probably
That should
built.
be taken into consideration, because I'm not changing the landscape, I'm just putting a little dinky
Yes, sir.
place there that would blend in with the rest. And
Interest-
actually, it's smaller than the rest.
Interesting enough, though, so those people are grandfathered in. However, if they should sell to someone of non-consanguinity, what would ultimately happen is they would then have to abide by whatever the current rules are. Let's say they wanted to build a brand-new structure. If they built it on the same footprint, they would be under the legal non-conforming structure rules, which is allowed. But if they were gonna knock it down and rebuild it from scratch, then ultimately they would have to follow whatever the rules are today.
Yeah.
So you're only grandfathered in to the old rules if you don't knock it down and you maintain,
I
you know,
understand
the
all that, but I'm
structures
just still
as it
saying,
is
I
right
mean,
now.
I don't
So-
say why you won't approve the variance, because
So-
it's a unique situation. And it's not like, you know, it's hidden behind there, it's not like on the main road.
Well, I mean, we could put like a trailer like here and like there, and that would be okay, because our property, and we
Right.
can park it there,
You
right?
can park,
It'll look like
Yeah.
real ugly, and that'd be
Yeah.
okay.
and it's not that you can't
Okay.
go to council and ask them for the variance,
Yeah.
but what they're
I
gonna
mean,
do is
you know,
see,
you should keep that in mind, I'm sorry, but,
yes,
you know, that would be much worse, but if you have to do that, we need to put our tools and our stuff somewhere. These lots are tiny. We have a little shed thing,
Yeah.
you know, and there's no room, so, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
we're kinda,
yeah.
I mean,
It's-
they
it-
could handle it one of two ways. Could go research some more.
That's what I.
Or we can just say to the council no and let them make their own decision.
Yeah. It's up to you. I would probably research it and find out what type of road that is. Because right now, if that is truly a public access road and your property line on both sides of the property goes to the center of that road, then you don't even require a variance.
Yeah, I don't believe it does it, because I have the survey done and
Yeah,
It shows the boundary.
Yeah.
Right there on the edge of the
Where
road.
the survey marker are.
yes, ma'am.
So,
And, but it's a small parcel of land, and like I say, when we,
it's a small garage too,
yeah,
12 by 16. It ain't like
Yeah.
a big footprint.
yeah,
And like I said, it's not gonna have electric, water, or nothing. It's pretty much, I'm trying to make it look like a miniature house that's already there. And that's another thing I thought y'all would take into consideration, because the houses there, none of them lots are big. And so it would blend in perfect. I mean, I know the rules and all that stuff, but still there should be some leniency somewhere, I would think, you know? Ain't like I'm trying to build some kind of big stuff or anything, you know?
the leniency usually comes when we're close. It's like if we're on on the edge. But this parcel of land is not even 1/10 of an acre.
Yeah.
And in order to build a single-family home in a low-density residential area, you need at least 20% of an acre. It's less than half that.
Yeah, but
And-
it's a 16 by 12. It's not a house. Y'all keep that, it's a garage.
Yes, sir,
Like,
but-
no
it's more
power,
like
no
a
electric.
shed than a garage.
Yeah, it's gonna be
really.
very small. So
But
I mean,
the-
I wish y'all would take into consideration that, because
Yeah.
maybe y'all wanna drive over and look at the neighborhood I'm talking about. There's nothing but little houses and little lots.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
sir.
they're grandfathered.
It's really just, the land development rules were recently rewritten about a year and a half ago, and the council members believe strongly in these segments in terms of the size, the land development rules for each of the different districts. And again, if we were close on it and you had a dwelling on it, or if you owned half to the middle of the road, it would be easy. But we're so far off on every
Well,
one of those
I
different.
just-
If the
I
community owns the road, all right, if that road is part of the community, all right, that would give me, right, that'd be my,
If you are deeded to the middle of the road,
no, I'm not saying that, excuse me. I'm just saying, nobody owns that road except that community.
somebody's.
So who, as far as I know, I mean, it was put there and nobody owns it, because that way you got access. It's not on the city maps, it's not
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like it's a road, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an access,
Yeah.
it's like an
It-
easement.
I'm just applying the rule, and the rule would be if you can show that you own to the middle of the road, and there are some cases where you do, then ultimately, it wouldn't require a variance.
Okay, and I'll do the research and try to come back, but if the road is part of the community,
Yeah.
and it's not part of the city,
If you don't have ownership of it, then it falls outside.
ownership of the whole road.
it's the community, so would I have a say so? I mean,
It would have to be on a deed. Their name would have to be on a deed as
So
being
is there
partial
such a
owner of it.
thing, a road that is a no deed, it's a no-name road, no owned road?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there such things?
Yes, ma'am,
That's
there are,
probably what it
there are
is.
many different,
Yeah,
there's your main thoroughfares and everything, which either the state owns or the city owns. And then there are public access roads, like alleyways where
well, that's what
if
what
you
that
own.
is an alleyway, I mean, but it's not owned, it's not like I said, it's not of the
Yeah.
city or anything, so it's,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah, so
part of
it-
mine, it's part of the community, right?
Yeah.
Well, not
But
really.
we're,
It's like a no-name.
like I say, and we're trying to help by providing that information, but at the end of the day, right now, the information we have is that you don't own part of the road. You've got a .074 parcel of land, and you want to build a garage on an accessory structure where you don't have a dwelling. So right now, it's just,
Okay, but I'll do the research and see, and, I mean, I hate to put something there and make it look ugly, but I mean, that's fine.
so let me ask you a question. We may have to vote on it still. Are you withdrawing your variance request at this time?
Well, I don't know what to do. You said I need to research the road. The road, as far as I know, is not on any deed or anything.
So
It's just like.
can we table it at this time then, John, without voting on it? I think we can.
Yeah, I believe we can table it to a later date. We can, make a motion to recommend denial, make a motion to approve with conditions, or we can make a motion to approve, to the city council.
Or motion to table it
or
until
to-
the research,
or to
right?
table it.
Okay.
If they'd like to table it.
is that okay with you? I mean, I really think a little bit more research can be done that maybe would allow that project to move forward.
Okay, I'll do as much as I can, you know.
So I'll ask for a motion to table it at this time
Make a
until.
motion to table
Okay,
this
very good.
issue until next,
Very
or
good.
whenever they wanna bring it back.
And then I'll come back the next Tuesday or something, or?
Well, it'll be
Second Tuesday of February.
second Tuesday of February, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. But that would only be if you, I mean, if you find out that you do have ownership up to the middle of that road. Actually, you don't have to come before us at all, because now it's not a variance. You would just go to actually, this young lady here, if you can show that you own to the middle of that road and then your other property owns to the middle of the road, then all of your small developments are approved by our city clerk. So you wouldn't have to come either before any board.
And I
Whether-
could merge them two properties too, couldn't I?
Well, that's what you'd have to do first. You'd have to have that property merge with the property across the road.
Okay.
But that's gotta first be, you gotta show where your property line on each side ends. And oftentimes, if it's a public access road, it is to the middle of the road.
Mhm. We have two houses in the cove, and I think the deed is like that. It doesn't show up on a survey, but on the deed, it says you own to the middle of the alley, but you can't build on it. You
Right.
can't
Really,
do
I'll look at
anything
that,
with
thank you for
Yeah.
your advice.
Yes.
I'll look at that, I mean,
it. It's worth a shot.
oh yeah, I mean, you know, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But let's say because the properties are offset a little bit.
not
Would
that bad.
yeah, but it is, you know, would that matter?
it would matter
Combine it?
because they would have to abut. The rules for combining property is that they would have to abut each other.
Is there a
Um,
space in there that they?
No, they,
would-
but,
okay.
she's wrong, they're okay. Don't worry about
Even if they just touch a little bit
yeah.
somewhere, then it's
They look
considered an
like
abutted
parallel.
property.
Oh,
that. Yeah, there's 30,
Yeah.
40 feet
Yeah,
right
there
there.
is,
Yeah, in other words, combining properties, they have to abut before they can be combined.
All right, okay.
We had a recent situation where somebody wanted to build a structure, but then the city owned the road, and then they wanted to build parking across the street and combine them, and we simply couldn't allow that because the rules don't allow that. Had they owned that road to the middle of the road, then it would have been no problem. That's why we're
Well, we'll
recently,
do our due diligence and
Yeah.
try to come back and,
Thank
and,
you.
I mean,
and if it ain't, you're gonna, you just
Thank you.
already said you're gonna shoot it down pretty much, right?
well, Mr. Davis, we're the advisory group here, but the governing board looks at what we have to say, because we're the nuts and bolts we're the techie guys who review the detail and then provide that information to them. And then, they oftentimes can be flexible, but they're gonna take you through the 7 questions. And I might suggest to you that you add some detail on there, because right now I think you just answered the questions without detail. And they're probably gonna wanna see, it's up to the applicant to ultimately convince them that each of those 7 variance requests, can be met in an affirmative way.
Okay, well.
So I would probably do that, and, but again, if you own to the middle of the road,
Yeah, but I don't think I.
you don't even require a variance.
Okay,
Check
what if-
into
what-
that.
What if nobody owns that road?
I don't know the answer to that. We'd have to ask
I
counsel.
don't think nobody owns it, really.
But if nobody owns the road, and the important thing is that if you don't own to the middle of the road, then it's still 2 separate properties. And then we come back to where we're at right now. And that is that unfortunately, you live in a low-density residential area where you've got a tiny parcel of land, and you couldn't even build a dwelling on it, so let alone an accessory structure.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it is, we then put a trailer on it, and that would be so much more ugly, I don't understand.
There's no
that. This
doubt,
is
and I
hard
hate,
to-
well,
'Cause
that's,
I like pretty things.
Yeah.
I hate ugly
yeah,
things.
I get it, I understand
It's
that.
frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
I get it.
Excuse me?
It's very frustrating
It is,
sometimes. I
you
get
know,
it.
because it would be ugly.
Paint
you
it
know,
like a
it
down
would-
clean,
would
put,
be
you know,
just,
solar lights on it, light it up.
Yeah, maybe
I'm just
a lot.
joking.
So I'm gonna ask for a motion then, in order to table this.
I did.
Okay, can I get a second? Did we get a second?
Second.
Okay, can I get a vote, Madam Clerk?
His question.
I did have a question. Do you know who
Please.
maintains the road? What happens when
Nobody
it
does.
leaks?
Nobody does.
Nobody maintains it.
So,
people
We-
driving in and out.
yeah, I
And I
mean-
cut the grass in it, cause it's
Yeah.
it's like a little alley, right? I got a little grass in the middle.
Okay,
And
I
always
think I
cut the
see some
grass in it.
pictures of it. Is it part of it gravel?
Well, it's not really gravel, it's like
It's more-
packed clay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I throw some where the holes are, throw some dirt in it, and
So
then,
the homeowners are maintaining it and doing a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit to keep
that's
it.
what I mean. It's like-
yeah, it's not nothing, you know.
And I thought we put in a variance and then if there was no, I mean, y'all got the final say, so I mean,
Well, actually, it's not us. The council members would have the final say. The
Okay.
council members would have the
All
final
right.
say.
Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you. I wish we could have been a little bit more help to you, but hopefully we've given you a path to pursue. So, can we take the vote then, Madam Clerk, to table?
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Ms. Powering,
Yes.
Mr. Striker.
Yes.
Mr. Reagan.
Yes. Very good. Okay, and then the last thing on the menu here is an application for a final plat approval. Do we have somebody here from the, yes, sir. Okay, come to the podium and state your name, please.
My name is Eric Rankin. I'm the plating surveyor.
Very good. Mr. Rankin, did you
Yes.
say? Mr. Rankin, very good. Do you have any questions for Mr. Rankin? This is the East Bay Flats,
Right.
Yes, sir.
right?
Hadn't been here for so long, I'm trying to remember what we were doing with this.
I think I can kind of get us on track. So I think, Mr. Rankin, we've got, so after the two splits, we would end up with 15.9 acres remaining. Is that approximately right?
No, this is a subdivision plat.
Where are we looking at this? I have East Bay Apartments. Did you submit this to the city, sir?
Oh, yeah, this was approved a while back, probably maybe a year ago, and then the plat was fully approved by the commission and everything, and then the developers had to make some revisions to it. We never recorded it, we made some revisions, resubmitted it, got comments from the reviewing surveyor and the reviewing engineer and Mr. Sloan. Him and I have been in conversations, answering some questions, and we've addressed all of the comments from city staff, and now that's why this is under review to be approved.
We don't have any of that information. And who did you communicate with in City Hall here?
Well, me and Mr. Sloan have spoken on the phone and.
This is John here. He's,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
It
okay.
says Tim Sloan.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think what we need to do,
Well, I mean, Elizabeth Moore is the engineer.
yes, sir.
reviewing,
Yeah,
and,
she's a city engineer from
and-
Anchor.
And Todd Tyndall is the reviewing surveyor.
And where is this located?
It's right here by the bridge, the apartments.
Yeah.
That's
we are
East Bay,
talking
that's East Bay Apartments.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yeah, okay.
okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you have 15.9 acres of 15.9 acres after the split of 0.83 acres and after the split of 0.91 acres, is that right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, all right, so let me ask you a question. Each of those buildings, there's 9 of them, is that right? 9 of the 3 rises?
I'm not
Okay.
sure.
All right, let me tell you what I know, guys. So there are 9 buildings there, and each of those buildings have 30 dwellings, okay? From this survey that I'm looking at, it appears as though they have approximately 16, 17, about 17 and a half acres. They want to segment off 0.83 acres it would be to the north, and then they want to segment off 0.91 acres to the south. The only thing that would be concerning to us would be, does the 15.90 acres ultimately allow for the dwellings to continue to exist that are there right now? So somebody got a calculator? So 15.9 times 25, because you can have 25 dwellings per acre.
397.5.
397, okay, let's just do some math. 397, and they've got 9 buildings, and there's 30 each. What's 30 times 9? 270,
270.
okay. All right, well, you're well under that, sir, so there's no issue with this. If this is the final plat, I don't unless any of the other commissioners has a,
No, this is just for dock access and things like that.
Yes.
yeah, aren't you gonna put a restaurant down there?
I'm not.
Aren't they?
Somebody was
Down the
at one
road,
time.
that is in the plans. down
That's
the
why
road.
they're
Right.
segmenting it off,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm not
and-
sure why, you know, basically the only change from what was previously approved all the way through the commission and everything to what you see now is the dock access parcel. And
Oh.
I'm not sure why they decided to do that, you know, I'm just the surveyor. But we went back and did that, and I believe there were some easements that were added as well. And so that's why we went back through the whole process again.
Okay, I get it. That's why you're talking to Mr. Sloan, so that
Right.
city would have access for easement sake. You know, we tried to give you that road,
Oh, really?
not you, but them.
Yeah.
This was a couple of years ago. I don't know why they didn't take us up on that. Okay, guys, the math is, ladies and gentlemen, the math is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna end up with 15.9 acres. They're entitled to 397 dwellings on that parcel of land. The two small segment splits are not going to interfere with the math at all. And if you don't have any questions, I'll ask that somebody put a motion that we approve the final, or move to council for their approval for the final plat.
I'm glad you reminded me what was going on. Okay.
So I'll ask for a motion to approve the final plat, or to then move it along to the council members for their final perusal and ultimate decision.
I make a motion to approve, to send to council for approval.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Second.
Okay, very good. Madam Clerk, can we take a vote, please?
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Ms. Powering.
Yes.
Mr. Striker.
Yes.
Mr. Riggins.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Glad we figured it out.
Yeah.
I was thinking about,
Like,
yep, good deal. Okay. Harry, anything that you would like to bring before the,
Not that comes to mind at the moment.
very good. Ann, anything you'd like to say,
I
or,
just want to say thank you for letting me join you. It's been very educational, and I look forward to learning more.
we look forward to having you on this team. I think you're gonna provide a lot of good analytical skills, and Ann's got a motorhome, and occasionally, if you own a motorhome, you know they have problems. And she is a hell of a troubleshooter. And so I know her analytical brain works on all kinds of really good
Manual
things.
right there.
What I've got for you is, we are dictated by the state on a regular basis to take 4 hours of ethics training. That
I thought
is,
last year they said we didn't have to do it because we were not elected.
we have to take it.
We have to take it.
Yeah, we
Okay.
absolutely
You're on
have to
the
take it.
list.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
It's,
I'll
it's,
find it.
it's, but I understand why you think that, Terry, because there is language in there that says elected officials, but if you keep
Right.
going down, it does say all commissions that are there. So it's 4 hours of online training. It doesn't have to be live. Here's, if you want to write this down, or did you send them an email on the, oh, there may be an email already, but here's how you get to it. It's flcities.com, flcities.com. And what you're going to go to is events and education. Okay. And then you're going to click on ethics. And then you're going to see a bunch of classes that you can take online. It says 4 hours. It's not 4 hours. It's more like about 3 hours and 10 minutes. But there's about 2 hours on Chapter 112, which is on Florida ethics law. Okay. And there's a 1 hour on Chapter 119. That's on public records. And then there's 1 hour on Chapter 286. That's in public meetings. That's mostly about sunshine rules, you know, how to make sure that we're not violating any of those rules, okay? Now, I'll let you know that one of those classes charges. Don't click on that one. Because go to the ones that say Florida Institute of Government. Those are the ones that are free, okay? And for some reason, the Florida Commission does charge about an $80 fee. No reason you have to do that. Now, sometimes navigating those links, because two of them are videos, but one of them is just a listen only. But if you have any questions, I found Christian Barton, who works at the Florida League of Cities. Her telephone number is 407-367-3443. She's awesome. She'll walk you right through which one. 407-367-3443. And she is, her name is Christian Barton, B-A-R-T-O-N. Okay? And that has to be completed by the end of March. End of March or first, sometime in March. So, you know, you don't have to do it all. And it's, and then when you're done, to come full circle, just send Ingrid a email that says I've taken my 4 hours of ethics training, and that meets the requirement. Okay? Very good. The only other thing that I've got on my menu is Ms. Hutto was our vice chair. So next month when we meet, what I'd like you to do is determine who you would like to be your vice chair. Okay? And then we'll ask for a nomination, and then we'll have that person. Okay? Very good. Mr. Hall, anything from you? Anything from you?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for your participation.